I will credit the writing or something, the production or something, with the Deadpool was really relentless in his character.
Yeah.
Like he was the same asshole in the beginning that he was all the way through and right through to the end.
Yeah.
So I give him credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't appreciate it at the time because it was revolting to me.
Yeah.
But as a presentation of that character, they did pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe that's like a good point right there, is that like a lot of people felt that there was like a steady stream of consistency with like past Marvel films in terms of quality, as well as like, you know, the special effects, and just like, you know, just that sort of feeling of like a spectacle, really, and it had been falling off in previous years. So this movie felt a lot like a return to that consistency of sort of that spectacle and sort of like that amazement and wonder, as well as like, you know, introducing some pretty, you know, new big ideas. For one, you got...
What was a new big idea?
Well, for one, all of the Fox superheroes.
Oh, know? You're saying that's an idea.
I'm the Wolverine. Stop it.
Hi, welcome to The Real Generation Gap. I'm BJ Kang.
I'm Fred Satilli.
And the movie we're reviewing today is Deadpool and Wolverine.
A superhero movie? There was nothing super and nothing heroic in this movie.
Living a peaceful life, the merc with a mouth, Deadpool finds himself on an adventure to save his universe, teaming up with unlikely but legendary heroes along the way.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm a big Marvel fan, just to start off right off the bat. I brought my Punisher t-shirt in today.
I love that. Yeah, that's cool.
One of my favorite Marvel heroes. And right here with me, one of my own props that I brought is I'm an amateur miniature painter. So I painted a Wolverine miniature here and brought it in. So thought that'd be cool. I might show that on camera later.
How many of those do you have?
I've made, honestly, a good couple. I always give them away. Yeah. You're
not a collector.
No, I make gifts out of them. I give them to other people. They appreciate them a lot more than I do. So the Marvel Cinematic Universe is one of the biggest movie franchises like on the earth, like right now.
Of course.
Yeah. And so this is a movie that a lot of people have been waiting for, especially because, for one,
it's so sad.
It's the first Marvel R-rated film. I think it's like one of the first R-rated Disney films as well. Not to mention, Hugh Jackman is returned as Wolverine. And
he is Wolverine.
Yeah.
Well, why wouldn't he?
Well, he retired after the last Wolverine movie.
Retired?
He did. Yeah.
He's an actor. He's not the real Wolverine.
Well, those movies were very taxing on him physically because they are superhero movies, so he has to get into shape, and you know it requires a lot of stunt work and physical motion.
I thought it was all body double and fake photography, and
so it takes a lot of work. So he had retired after the last Wolverine movie, but he returned just for this installment in the Deadpool series here because it was a very big deal.
What a guy! Oh my god. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
I hated the movie so much, I just have an attitude problem.
Okay, before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the facts of the movie.
Yes,
so, for one, you're not going to get a lot of this movie if you're not following the MCU. Like, you're not going to know what the TVA is or, too much about Deadpool.
That's the Marvel universe, right? The MCU?
Yeah, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So,
Cinematic universe.
They got TV shows, a bunch of movies, and so
Surprised they don't have a video game.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they probably do.
Okay.
And so you had to watch like the TV shows, a couple of the movies before, other movies, not just from like the Disney Marvel movies, but also the Fox movies, considering that Fox was previously owned Deadpool and Wolverine, their IPs, I believe all of the X-Men. And so you have to watch those ones as well. And so finally you get this culmination after the Fox buyout of this huge movie where Disney is able to put together all the superheroes they own with the superheroes that, Fox owned.
It's a mashup.
Yeah, it's a team-up movie. It's one of the biggest. And honestly, it was extremely enjoyable. Like, from a, Marvel fan, someone's been following that.
I have friends who live for this.
Yeah.
They're there the first night in the best theater in 3D with the, the special stereo, and they, come with their uniform on and whatever it is. They bring a Thor hammer with them or something just in case. Or,
yeah.
I know what a huge thing it is.
Yeah. And honestly, it's from my opinion, I've seen a lot of these Marvel films. It's really, I believe, The best way to put it, I think, is really a big cameo sort of mashup with a lot of famous actors, a lot of famous superheroes. I wouldn't say that the story is super meaningful, but it's really just an extremely enjoyable and well done Marvel film. And honestly, superhero movies don't really need to be anything more than just being extremely enjoyable. So, with that being said, Fred, what do you think?
Well, okay, I get that. This is a fan-based thing. This was done for their fans.
Yeah.
Their fans wanted to see all these people. I went through this when they had those Star Trek movies with Captain Kirk and stuff, and they alluded to the original show. There was stuff that you could identify as, classic moments or things like that. But I think a movie should stand on its own as a movie. Mm-hmm. I think that I should have been able to go to this, and this was not a superhero movie. Mm-hmm. It was, I don't know what it was. It was a weird, this is the generation gap thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what this was. This is almost like an after party for people who went to the real party. Now, I grew up with these comic book characters. When Batman was on TV, it was the first time it was on TV. It was,
Adam West.
Right.
Thought you'd unhinge me, did you? I fooled you. I kept my reason by reciting the multiplication tables backwards.
I think this represented these superheroes very, very badly. There were very, effeminate, swishy guys who didn't exude strength or special ability. There was this Deadpool guy doesn't have any superpowers. Mm-hmm. He's just stabbing everybody. They're dying. He's not dying. He's got, dozens of swords sticking out of him or something, but he's just fine. I mean, that's not good. Like, even the character under the mask, Hugh Jackman, he's a man.
Yeah.
It's conceivable he's like a really tough guy. This other guy, a little too effeminate for me.
Yeah.
The first 10 minutes of the movie were totally alienating to me. The kind of humor that there was, the jokes were really thin and cheap. It was no good writing at any point. There was no moral to the story. There was no nobody overcame an incredible supervillain or anything. Everything was just really weak and washed out. That's how I felt.
It's supposed to be lighthearted, and first 10 minutes I enjoyed it because it's relatable.
That was our producer. There was no way I could relate to any of that. The first 10 minutes of the movie, the comedy was so thin and bad. The jokes were childishly banal. Mm-hmm. It was something a kid in elementary school could have written that script. I talked to people on the way out to the parking lot. I just innocently, hey, what'd you think of the movie? One kid said to me, wow, 2 hours of nonstop comedy. I laughed. It's I didn't see anybody in this movie laughing. And I thought, man, you don't know what funny is. Just you ever see somebody that laughs at their own jokes and their jokes aren't funny, and you sort of have to put up with that guy? Mm-hmm. He thinks what he said is really funny, but it's really not, but he laughs. That's how this movie was to me.
Well, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of that humor because, for one, that is exactly how Deadpool's written in the comics. He's written to be obscene, not clever at all, and honestly, just very childish like that. And honestly, they did a very faithful adaptation of, portraying that character for who he is. So you have a lot of that humor throughout the entire movie, a lot of very obscene jokes like that.
And they had outtake humor, where they mentioned the producers and the buyout from one franchise to the other or whatever like that. It was is this a review of this movie or is this the actual movie?
That's a lot of the fourth wall breaks there. That's also very common with Deadpool. That's also how he was written in the comics at the time as well. He was, he's called the Merc with a mouth for a reason because he just does not shut up.
Right. Yeah. And that was annoying.
Yeah.
He's also that guy who never shuts up. And being a guy myself who never shuts up,
Side control, then full mount, and you ground and pound till he makes no sound because he's dead.
Shut up. Oh my God.
Okay, good luck. I'm a huge fan.
So I can definitely see where you're coming from. You're more used to superheroes like Superman and Batman, those more traditional superheroes. Deadpool was a superhero.
I love the Iron Man movies. Yeah. The guy that was Tony Stark, and he had the high-tech stuff, and he had the whole history where he was the prisoner in the Middle East, and he invented that thing that goes in the middle of your chest or something. And I thought that was really fun and exciting. And
Recent violence has been attributed to a group of foreign fighters referred to by locals as the 10 Rings.
I think a large part of it was that there was no respect for death. At one point, he had two swords like sticking through him, and this guy, he said, "Do you realize how ridiculous you look?" And he went, "Oh yeah," and he took the swords out, and he wasn't even bleeding or something.
Wait! Time! You look ridiculous. People have waited decades for this fight. It's not gonna be easy. Baby knife, you shoot the double, you take him down.
Well, there's nothing to it. Then what? Why are you fighting if you can't even get wounded?
And honestly,
but I guess he did give the audience what they wanted, right? If he's that character, if he really, the people who wanted to see that, I guess they got a good dose of it.
yeah, I think that's exactly a really good way to describe it for people who are looking to this movie to get, what they've been waiting for so long. I feel like they got it. They got a really epic team up movie with Deadpool and Wolverine. Lots of, on brand humor for that, as well as some of the fight scenes being extremely graphic, but also pretty well choreographed. I think I really like the fight scenes that they had in the van.
Inconsequential.
Yeah. That's that's where some of the creativity comes from. When you have two guys who just won't die no matter how much damage you do to them, how far can you go in the amount of carnage that they can inflict on each other? And that's where the creativity comes from. I mean, that van scene, for example, you had them stabbing the crap out of each other, but it was just enjoyable because it's like Looney Tunes. That's a lot of what Deadpool is like. I mean, in Looney Tunes,
the Roadrunner cartoon.
Yeah, the coyote gets blasted with a rocket. Anyone else, they would die. But with Roadrunner, or with a coyote,
he can survive anything.
Yeah, he walks it off, and that's part of the humor. Same thing here. But yeah, it was like the first R-rated.
Oh, she was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that girl there, the one that puts her hands inside your face, and her fingers are coming out your nose and everything like that.
Nova, yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of a cool, weird. But she also was a person that couldn't die and just was omnipotent and was able to just be like go from here to here in a split second and then be like inside your body and stuff. I didn't buy any of it.
Well, I mean, that's where a lot of the fun sort of comes from, is that you have these individuals with powers that are like make them near invincible, or at least, undying. Honestly, it's like a lot of the film is really, this is the first R-rated movie. How far can you go with it? Especially with characters that are not going to die. So you have a lot of opportunity there to really just be as brutal as you want to be. And a lot of scenes, especially some of the fight scenes, are extraordinarily brutal. But that's to be expected from a Deadpool movie, especially with Wolverine, who is known to be, a feral animal in the comics.
Right, yeah.
You got to give people what they want. They want Deadpool to kill people in hilarious, gross ways, and Wolverine to be a monster.
Yeah.
And that's what you got.
Okay. I felt like honestly, I felt like I turned into my mother watching this movie because in my life, I watched things that I thought were funny that she didn't think was funny. And she said, "Why is that funny?" Like a Cheech and Chong movie.
Yeah.
Right. If my mother watched a Cheech and Chong movie, she'd be like, "But this is just stupid."
Drive, man. We got stopped by the cops, man. I don't have a driver's license.
Shit, man, why'd you tell me that when you started driving?
Oh, never mind that, man. What are we gonna do?
Oh, shit. Oh, here, Cheech plays with me, man. Oh, come on.
I don't think you see me.
No, sit down.
I got my leg cut. I just to get my legs cut.
Man, look it over, man.
And it was like, "Gee, Mom, you don't get it." So I became her. Like, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this to me was my mom watching a Cheech and Chong movie. And I really felt that during it.
Yeah.
It's like, how am I not enjoying this? A lot of money went into this. A lot of history is behind this. This thing's got a fan base. Why? And that was a weird thing for me to see and think.
Yeah, I had a lot of people who, they were laughing and, cheering and stuff like that because a lot of them were excited to see. I mean, for one, you had a lot of Fox, Marvel heroes sort of where he came into this film and made cameos. I mean, you had Jennifer Garner return as Elektra, Wesley Snipes playing Blade.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, and then you had some joke ones like Channing Tatum being Gambit in a really horrible, I think, Louisiana and French accent. So, but that was a lot of fun because this movie was a lot of like an homage to Fox's Marvel universe that they had because Marvel's IP was split up across a lot of studios, and Disney is trying to buy up all of them so they can really include the entire Marvel universe under sort of their banner. And now they were able to really give an homage to a lot of forgotten attempts, past attempts at Marvel stories.
Yeah, they did look back on stuff.
Yes,
there was a lot of callback stuff.
Previous Marvel movies haven't been doing so great, especially after like their big movie they did, Endgame.
Yeah, I understand it's a decline.
There's been a decline going on with the quality, and fans have not been going to Marvel movies as much. So there is a lot of anticipation for this movie for a lot of reasons,
Okay. I did notice in this movie, for some reason, it's stylish now for chariots to be pulled by motorcycles.
I did see that, the Mad Max sort of.
Right, they had that. Then this guy was like, I think I recognize that vehicle from another, Yeah.
And so I did kind of feel that same way that like a lot of the joke that Deadpool made was like he's Marvel Jesus, that he's gonna revive the MCU because of like it's kind of been floundering a bit, and a lot of people were saying it's on a steep decline into the grave. But I kind of felt that same way too, where the story wasn't, like super meaningful or like the impact it had, However, I did feel that it re-sparked some of that, original sort of amazement or sort of wonder you had going to like the very first like Iron Man movie, sort of, or at least to the very least, like sort of like when you went to sort of like those bigger team up movies, like an Avengers movie, or
I like that.
Yeah,
right. Captain America with Thor, with
exactly.
the Hulk, with But I will say this. I will credit the writing or something, the production or something, with the Deadpool was really relentless in his character.
Yeah,
like he was the same asshole in the beginning that he was all the way through and right through to the end.
Yeah.
So I give him credit for that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't appreciate it at the time because it was revolting to me.
Yeah.
But as a presentation of that character, they did pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe that's like a good point right there, is that like a lot of people felt that there was like a steady stream of consistency with like past Marvel films in terms of quality, as well as like, the special effects, and just like, just that sort of feeling of like a spectacle, really, and it had been falling off in previous years. So this movie felt a lot like a return to that consistency of sort of that spectacle and sort of like that amazement and wonder, as well as like, introducing some pretty, new big ideas. For one, you got...
What was a new big idea?
Well, all of the Fox superheroes.
Oh, you're saying that's an idea. I thought you meant a story idea. Mm-hmm. Because I tell you the truth, on these kind of things like Aquaman movie, right? That was an incredibly well done production, both of them.
Yeah.
But the storyline was, 1,000 times over.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing new in the storyline. It was just, they did it with these actors and these scenery, but the actors and scenery really were phenomenal. But there wasn't a new story. In this one, there wasn't much of a story. I don't know that superhero movies can make a new story. Mm-hmm. I think that format requires a certain formula. I can't imagine how they would get out of it. Mm-hmm. They had in the James Bond movies, it's kind of the same every time, the supervillain and the lair of the supervillain.
Yeah.
But when they made Skyfall, it was a whole nother kind of movie. was nothing like Casino Royale or any of the other classics.
Yeah.
The guy who wrote that, he really used James Bond in a different way and made him very dimensionally different character and everything. I don't know that this, the Marvel universe, I think it's become like so stylized and predictable or something that I'd actually like to see one where there's one of these characters and he did something really out of character. And when I say out of character, I don't mean woke. I mean, it's a really interesting. They're going to need a really good, different kind of science fiction writer, and have him incorporate his story utilizing those characters. And maybe it would be interesting and different then. Yeah.
Yeah, I keep begging for a Punisher movie, and I keep hoping that they'll make it an R-rated movie. Because it would be way different than all the other Marvel movies.
It would make like how Death Wish was, right? Because that's what Punisher is, right?
Yeah.
So to have him, or like, who was another great character who really was changed was the Joker.
Yeah.
Right? When Heath Ledger was the Joker, it was like, whoa, this is not a Batman movie. This is not a typical, Batman.
Yeah.
This is like this psychological. So I don't know. Maybe there's hope. For the franchise, or
I mean, there's a lot of fresh blood really to be injected into the lifeline of the or whatever lifeline of the cinematic. The MCU has left essentially, and there's a lot of fanfare being played around this movie too. I mean, that's why the Marvel Jesus joke is so prevalent around.
Yeah, right. Yeah, another bad taste joke or something.
So there's still definitely signs that the stories or the character arcs are not.
I think they have to make them more human.
Yeah, I mean that was something the Marvel actually did achieve with the first couple, like the first Iron Man movie or the first Thor's character arc throughout the MCU, and Hulk's character arc, and it's like they sort of ran out of steam after Endgame, and a lot of people had been hoping for that same energy or that same kind of passion or sort of just what made Marvel movies stand apart from like the stereotype of how superhero movies were before, and a lot of people were hoping that with these, with this new revised, this new fanfare of new stuff that they could inject a new.
It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was another idea that they introduced, was that like timelines are. That's basically them saying that timelines are moldable. It's like timelines that were like dead before can be revived, or
another story that's been done and done and done. There's a Star Trek episodes about that. There's whole Star Trek movies about that, and here we are doing that. Beat up old subject again. But one of the things when I was young and these things were in comic books and this was just blossoming, was these characters were all isolated. The Flash didn't meet Green Arrow. Superman didn't meet Batman. These guys were really, if you were buying a Batman comic book, he was the only hero, and he was going to fight 2 or 3 or 4 different supervillains, and it was the same thing with each one of those guys, right? They had their own Silver Surfer. He wasn't going to meet Batman.
Yeah.
But in these movies, it's like one big stupid fraternity, and they're sort of like, they don't, some of them respect each other's power and some of them don't. And there seems to be like, infighting rivalry, like kind of like brotherly, I don't know. I mean, when Captain America comic books were there, he was a man. He had no superpowers. He just was really strong, and he had the shield that really worked.
Yeah.
And the same thing, Iron Man. He was a man, and he had the suit. He was the techno guy.
Yeah.
Right? And everything was geared to that. Like there wasn't like different stuff that couldn't possibly be. Captain America didn't fight zombies. He fought men, other men. It was a real. But now, anything goes, and I think they took it a little too far.
I think that was really what the movie is about. Is about how far can they take it? It's like if Marvel's been floundering for a bit, then they're really experimenting with, okay, we got new heroes. now we're trying rated
Let's
R.
exploit the crap out of them.
We got rated R stuff. Let's exploit the crap out of them. But they made it enjoyable. They made it extremely enjoyable because it was like you got a lot of really great action scenes. You got that new humor, I guess, that they're going to be trying to bring into Disney and stuff like that. And,
that's just the whole thing with comedy being dead.
Yeah.
Because I lived in the golden age of comedy, and when I saw this, I'm like, this is what passes for comedy for these stupid kids. Like, wow. Mm-hmm. I'm happy that people who enjoyed this and had fun there and everything, that they got their money's worth, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, they really did. The fact that it's not my cup of tea, it's not the world according to Fred, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I just think the way the music now is like not even a shadow of what it used to be. I felt like this was the same way. Mm-hmm. Just some algorithmic, maybe AI-induced, bland, Are you ready to give it a rating?
Yeah, I'm ready to give it a rating.
Yeah, I rated a 1. Don't go to this. Don't go to this movie.
I give it an 8.
Those
impeccable sort of Marvel, those impeccable sort of heartfelt and genuine stories that you got from the very first Marvel movies are not there yet. There are definitely some new elements being introduced that does make it more enjoyable and more exciting again than the stuff that's sort of been floundering lately. It was definitely extremely enjoyable, and it was definitely, I think, what the fans got what they wanted. I think in order for it to be substance, though, there still has to be some
substance.
There still needs to be some. There's still substance needs to be returned to, And I think Marvel has a lot of new opportunities to try to expand or try to get some of that substance back. But we'll see. For now, we got a really enjoyable team up movie with a lot of cameos, and it was honestly a very lovely homage to Fox's Marvel universe itself. I really liked the sort of the behind the scenes stuff from the previous Fox movies, the X-Men movies, Elektra, Blade and all that. That was really nice.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
And for the audience, too, who had a good time.
Yeah. So if you're a Marvel fan, I would definitely suggest that you go see this movie. If you're not, then probably go with Fred's opinion more.
Right.
Thank you for watching The Real Generation Gap. We really appreciate you guys coming to check us out. And we recently just reached 1,000 subscribers. So really, we want to give you guys a huge thanks for making this all possible for us, as well as continually checking in every week. Leave a comment down in the comment section below. Let us know what your favorite superhero movie was and what do you think a really good superhero movie really is. Otherwise, make sure to watch our next video, and thanks for joining us again. See ya.